Thank you, Mr. President. I rise again, Mr. President, to talk about the unsustainable spending of this country and the debt that we cannot afford. Just a moment ago, in a proposal by Senator Conrad and Senator Gregg to put together a commission to tackle the spending of this country was defeated in this chamber. I supported the proposal. It was not a perfect proposal. It was a proposal that some Republicans didn't like because of the opportunity it might promote to have a tax increase. It was a proposal that some Democrats did not like because they thought the spending may be too tough on entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare. But it was a proposal that both Republicans and Democrats, I hoped, would like enough to move forward. The spending problem we have, Mr. President, is like a cancer, and this chamber refuses to seek any treatment. And while I did not like the proposal completely, I at least supported it because I knew we needed to do something. Our spending is out of control. We have a $12 trillion debt. The deficit of last year was $1.4 trillion, more than the past 4 years in the Bush administration combined. Now, I am new to this chamber, so the bizarre still seems bizarre to me. And perhaps the longer you're here, bizarre starts to seem normal. But we cannot spend more than we take in. We cannot continue to amass a debt that our children are going to have to pay for. Right now, we have to go borrow money from countries like China because we can no longer raid Social Security and Medicare because those programs now need those dollars to be paid out. But at some point, this country is going to have to pay the piper. At some point, we're going to have to dramatically cut spending or dramatically increase taxes. At some point, investors from around the world won't invest in this country anymore because we will not be a good investment. And that's already starting to happen. You are already seeing folks from around the world investing in countries like Brazil because they see that as a superior opportunity to this country. At some point, we will not be a first-rate economic power unless the people in this chamber and the chamber down the hall have the courage to do something about it. What we should be doing is balancing the budget. We should be proposing a balanced budget amendment and a line-item veto for the president. I have put forward this measure. The majority of the states do it. The majority of the governors have that line-item veto. But it's tilting at windmills. I know it's unrealistic because this chamber won't even do what Senators Conrad and Senators Gregg tried to do just a few moments ago. But I will continue to stand up, Mr. President, and speak about this. Because if we do not sound the alarm, the future of this country is in peril. And now we are about to embark upon raising the debt limit. This time, $1.9 trillion. Now, Mr. President, I've talked about this before, and for those who have heard it, it's going to seem like old news, but I feel like I have to continue to stress how much money this is. If you take $1 million and lay it edge to edge, it'll cover 2 football fields. $1 billion will cover the city of Key West, Florida, 3.4 square miles, and $1 trillion will cover the state of Rhode Island twice. If you stack the $1 trillion from the ground up to the sky, it would go more than 600 miles. This is an enormous amount of money. We throw these amounts around, trillions and billions, and it's hard to grasp how much it is. But now our interest payment has become the 3rd biggest payment we make every year, more than $200 billion alone on interest. We can't put Band-Aids over this. We can't say we're going to just freeze spending. We have to cut spending. The President apparently is going, the President of the United States apparently, Mr. President, is going to offer in his State of the Union address on Wednesday the idea that we're going to cut spending in some discretionary items. It's about 17% of the budget. Leader Boehner over in the House said it's like going to a pie eating contest and now deciding like you're going to go on a diet. I think it's like that family sitting around the table and trying to decide how they're going to cut their spending instead of making meaningful cuts. It's like them saying, okay, we'll cut our spending on beer and pizza. It's not enough. It's not enough. We are spending much more than we can afford to. And my 3 kids, and soon to be 4, are not going to want to live in this country because they're not going to have the same opportunity as they could in other places in the world. And shame on us if we fail our children in that way. So I stand with my colleagues, Senator Coburn, Senator McCain, and Senator Enzi in support of Amendment 3303, which is an alternative to increasing this debt ceiling. Instead of increasing the debt ceiling, borrowing more money when we can't afford to, we're going to cut spending by $120 billion, which is a good start. And how do we do it? We go across all of the agencies and say they have to cut 5%. Now, American families are cutting more than 5% right now from their household budgets. Small businesses in places like Florida and around the country, they have to cut more than 5% in these difficult times. When's the last time a government agency cut anything? I bet you could cut 20 or 30% out of these agencies and not have a meaningful impact on the services that they render. And this just asks for 5%, a 5% cut across the board. It also directs that agencies consolidate more than 640 duplicative programs that have been found. And we know there's more than that. That's just the 640 that have been found. Requires the Government Accounting Office to identify other duplicative programs that can be cut. And rescind unobligated funds. There's money sitting out there in the budgets of these agencies that they haven't spent. Let's take that money back and put it against the deficit. We're borrowing money right now. We shouldn't have money sitting around when we're borrowing money and paying interest on it. So it's a good proposal, and I hope it passes. But the truth is it probably won't, because there are folks in this chamber, Democrats and Republicans alike, who won't stand up and face the hard truth that we have to cut spending. And if we don't make the hard choices and stand up as leaders of this country, our future is in peril. And when we look back 10, 20 years from now, and it's too far gone, the only folks that we're going to have to blame is ourselves. It's not a Democratic problem. It's not a Republican problem. It's a problem of this Congress. Go back to March of 2006, the President of the United States, then a senator, said, quote, "The fact that we are here today to debate raising America's debt limit is a sign of leadership failure. It is a sign that the U.S. government can't pay its own bills." Don't take it from me. Take it from the President of the United States. We've got to do more. I'm disappointed that Greg Conrad failed. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. I hope that Senator Coburn's measure prevails, but I'm skeptical. The American people get it. The American people understand that this is a problem. And that's why we have these big swings in these elections. The same passion that propelled President Obama into office is the same passion that propelled our new senator from Massachusetts into office, from 2 opposite parties. Because the American people are frustrated that this body doesn't work. And if we don't change the rules and start to get serious, and we keep muddling along the path of disaster, we're going to fail our country. Now, we may not get it done while I'm here in the Senate. I only have this year. But I'm going to keep coming to the floor, Mr. President, and I'm going to keep speaking out about it because somebody has to sound the alarm. Mr. President, I suggest the absence of a quorum.